My name is Terry Feveryear. I'm the Executive Director of the Housing Authority, and we are so happy today to see this finally happening. It's been a long time coming, but we've had so much help and support with the Mayor's Office, the Redevelopment Agency of Salt Lake, and the Department of Housing and Neighborhood Development. We've had so many wonderful funding partners, but I'm not going to go into that. That will be addressed later. I wanted to thank our board of directors at the Housing Authority. Phil Bernal, our chair, is here. Unfortunately, our vice chair, Palmer DePaulis, wasn't able to make it. Valda Tarbett, Dave Mansell, Alfonso Price, Michael Mamo, Michael Clara. They've all been very supportive of putting this project together, and staff really appreciate that. And I'd also like to give a shout out to the management staff and all the other Housing Authority staff that kind of kept us in check while management staff was busy with this, putting this together, and the other development we have. And I do want to thank Kim Wilford, Brittany Dabb, Robin Cordova, Joe Post. Joe has been the one putting in all the sweat and tears, along with one of his employees, Vicky Jenkins, putting all of this together, working with the construction people and the architects, and he's just put countless number of hours in, and I really want to thank him for that. And I also want to thank Annie Lyman on our staff. She helped put this all together today, and we welcome you all and thank you for being here. I'm now going to turn the time over to Phil Bernal, our board chair, and he has a few words to say before he introduces the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry mentioned a lot of the people that I was going to mention, our staff and our board members. I did want to mention that, as she implied, this was a long time in coming project. We worked on it for quite a while. Valda Tarbett, our past chair the last 2 years, was the chair during most of that negotiations and with the city, with the RDA, working with them, and we're very proud to be a part and working together with Salt Lake City. We're also glad to see that our project contributes to the 5,000 door program that Mayor Becker has for Salt Lake City, and we hope that we'll be able to have more doors we can help produce for Salt Lake City. And I do want to add, as Terry mentioned, that the staff was very good in working with the board. There were times when it looked like the board wasn't going to do this project, and the staff came forward and gave us the information we need to make it work. The city helped quite a bit, and we're very fortunate that we get to have this project. So right now I get to introduce our mayor of Salt Lake City, Mayor Ralph Becker, and again, who was instrumental in helping us get this project on the road. Mayor Becker.
So Phil, thank you, and of course thank you to all of you who have played such a huge role in what is never an easy accomplishment. You can tell by the list of folks who have been involved in this project. This has been, as is always the case when we're successful, a great partnership among so many folks, privately and publicly, to make this effort successful. I also want to note that I'm missing the blue building, which we've all of us who've been around the city have looked at it and gone, God, that's a weird looking structure. It probably had historic significance. I better be careful. But I'm really so pleased to be here today to help break ground on this 9th East Lofts at the Bennion Plaza. It is the latest accomplishment, as was mentioned by Phil, as a contributor, an important contributor to our 5,000 affordable doors in Salt Lake City. And to just put this in perspective with the 5,000 Doors initiative, which we initiated earlier this year, our goal was to establish 5,000 affordable units in 5 years, which is an ambitious goal. And it is to fill the gap of making sure that everyone who wants to and can live in Salt Lake City has affordable housing in Salt Lake City. We do not want to be pricing people out of Salt Lake City with the incredible prosperity we're having. With this project, we are now in less than a year at 800 doors with 2,000 more doors in progress. So we are not only achieving what we thought was going to be a very ambitious goal, and this project is obviously playing a very large role in that, we are surpassing, if we can continue on this trend, and I'm looking at Mike Ackerlow because that puts even more pressure on him and his team, for us to accomplish what we think is so important to maintain fairness and equity and opportunities for people in our city. This project, of course, is made possible by the Housing Authority of Salt Lake City, by the city's redevelopment agency, and it is a transit-oriented development that will serve such important populations: folks on fixed incomes, people with disabilities, the under and unemployed, in the community at large. 9th East Lofts will add 68 new housing units to the steadily growing number of housing opportunities in the city. 22 of those units will accommodate special needs residents, and 34 will be rented to no more than 60% of the area median income. 5,000 Doors, as I mentioned, is well on its way to accomplishing our goals. And I especially want to note the special needs populations in our city, because we often, I think, take for granted those of us who have full abilities. And we have got to include in our housing this large portion of our population that has great difficulty both in their mobility and in finding housing that will serve them. Since its inception at the beginning of this year, we've been addressing through 5,000 Doors this housing shortage for those who need affordable housing. That includes, excuse me, preserving the city's existing housing affordable stock, creating new affordable units through developments such as this 9th East Lofts project, and strengthening our relationship with housing partners, financial institutions, and foundations, and providing assistance for both renters and new home buyers. People sometimes fail to recognize that we are also providing assistance for people to get into home ownership who often have not had that opportunity before. This development will also foster mass transit and mobility for its residents. As you can see from behind me here, it is ideally located between the city's downtown core and the University of Utah. It is only about 200 feet from the tracks line and track station, which provides immediate access to bus routes and downtown going to 6400 South on Route 209. I might also note that as it relates to this project, one of the criticisms that's a rightful criticism of the way we've approached affordable housing in the past is that it has tended to be congregated and concentrated on the west side of Salt Lake City. This project and many other projects that we have is to really spread out the ability for people to live in all parts of our city. The overall theme for the 9th East Lofts is accessibility, as it is geographically, logistically, and financially available to a wide breadth of residents. The city, of course, is proud to have played a role in facilitating this development, and we will heartily support future similar housing opportunities to ensure that everyone in Salt Lake City has an affordable and accessible place to call home. So thank you all for your work. This is a great project and representation of the efforts we're making in Salt Lake City to give everyone an equal opportunity to housing in our city. So appreciate that, and now I'm pleased to introduce, I assume we're going to do it this way, Stan Penfold, who's a member of the City Council and, of course, chair of our City Redevelopment Agency, and has worked tirelessly on this and so many other projects. Thank you, Stan.
It's truly my pleasure to be here today. You all know this was a long time coming. There's a lot of effort that went into this project and a lot of challenges, as the mayor mentioned. But it was really important for the redevelopment agency when we took on this piece of property that we do a unique and really stellar housing project. One of the things we all love about Salt Lake City is the diversity of our neighborhoods. And one of the things I think that's a great risk in the city is that very diversity. As the economy is booming and as we see construction going up all over the city, naturally our housing prices are creeping up. And it's a very serious concern, I think, for the mayor and for the city that we don't create a situation where we become a city where people can't afford to live here. So that's what the 5,000 doors that the mayor initiated was all about. The redevelopment agency has a strong commitment to affordable housing in Salt Lake City. This was a great piece of property that was in a perfect location for a transit-oriented housing development. And so I'm thrilled to see this happening today. I can't thank enough all the people who were involved. You've heard a lot of names, and there are just as many behind the scenes who made this happen. I do want to just mention, not many people know that one of the real challenges on this site was the old Salt Lake City Canal, which runs right through this property. It's an old brick-lined canal that is still used for drainage, not for your drinking water. It's drainage. But we had to relocate that to the front of the property and out here so that we could actually even have a building site for this piece of property. The redevelopment agency in the city did that with the cooperation of public utilities. But a lot of hands have been on this project. A lot more will be on this project. One of the reasons the redevelopment agency is thrilled about the proposal from the Housing Authority is, well, just look at this design here. This went through an RFP process back in 2013. The redevelopment agency board selected this particular proposal primarily because of its fine integration of pedestrian level activity on the street level. And if you come up after and look at some of the plans, you'll see that they've done an incredible job. Method Studio was wonderful about their design. The materials are exceptional. The activity on the street level is incredible. This will be a great place to live. If it was in my district, I would consider moving here, but it's not. So again, thank you to all the people who were involved. Thank you all for being here today. It's a great project, and we are thrilled to put some shovels in the ground today. Claudia. Oh, there she is right there in front of me. I'm thrilled to introduce, I've known Claudia for many, many years, and I'm thrilled to introduce Claudia O'Grady, who's the Vice President of Multifamily Finance at Utah Housing Corporation.
Thanks, Dan. Oops, sorry. Yeah, I'll just put that right there. Thank you, and I want to add our voice to the many congratulations to Terry Fevrier, the entire team at the Housing Authority. This is really a wonderful accomplishment. Utah Housing Corporation is really honored to be a part. As Stan put it, many hands have touched this project, and we're just very honored to be one of those many hands. Utah Housing Corporation issued the low-income housing tax credits that really launched the rest of the financing to put this project together. And it wasn't on the first go-round that the project won an award of credits, and that's really because it's such a challenging process to put all the pieces in place, have everything come together at just the right time in order to be successful in the tax credit program. So not only is this a wonderful project, but it's really a wonderful testament to their commitment, the focus, and the dedication to the mission of affordability in the city. We're just happy that you continue to be a strong partner for us. This is, I believe, the city's 8th project through the housing credit program, through the low-income housing tax credit program. So we're very pleased. I just wanted to say that I live up in the 9th and 9th neighborhood, not too far from here, just up the street a little ways. I've lived there for about a dozen years, and I think the whole time that I've lived there and walk and bicycle through this neighborhood, I don't think this building has ever been in use, the blue building. It's a lovely blue building, but it's never been in use. So this is what we're going to get as a neighborhood amenity, and I have no doubt that this is going to be some of the nicest housing in the city for a good long time to come. Congratulations again, and thank you for your wonderful contributions to affordable housing.
Good morning. My name is Joe Post. I'm the director of the nonprofit division for the Housing Authority of Salt Lake City. It's great to have you all here. Mayor, it's an honor to have you with us. Other city leaders, state leaders. It's great to see so many of our team here that we've worked together with over these last few years. We were down and dirty 2.5 years ago at Butterfield, and it's amazing how this has come together over time. As we continue to develop new affordable housing, the Housing Authority has made a point to build for the future while respecting the past. We are at the site of the old Kiwanis-Felt Boys and Girls Club. In its last year, as a building, this building was referred to as the Blue Pagoda or the Blue Box before its unceremonial demolition just a few weeks ago. But the shell we tore down was just the echo of what this property used to be. This is the plaque that we're saving from the dedication in 1967 when J. Bracken Lee was the mayor. And let me see if I can see, there's a quote here. It says something to the effect that the future of our city begins here. And so it had a rough time at the end, but there was a lot of good things that went on here. In my youth, I grew up in Salt Lake City, in this neighborhood, went to South High School. I played band and basketball here. I coached my kids' junior jazz teams here. It was an active place. There were youth that could be sheltered here, mentored here, and were taken off the streets. So to remember and respect the past, we have integrated into the design of our new building some things from the old building. This sign will be up in the old building. We've taken care of the old basketball floor, and we're repurposing that to artwork on the different levels of the property. There's the old scoreboard that we're going to have on one of the levels, a couple of the basketball standards, and again, this plaque. But there's something else that I hope is a part of the legacy for this property, and that is the memory of Anne Marie Fox Felt. I found this brief article about Mrs. Felt on the Utah History to Go website. And I quote, "Everybody's child is mine," this youth club founder said. The Kiwanis-Felt Boys and Girls Club traces its beginnings to two boys adrift on the streets of downtown Salt Lake City, and school teacher and businesswoman Anne Marie Fox Felt. Marie, as she was called, was born in Salt Lake City in July of 1900 to Jesse M. Fox and Hannah Fox, after receiving a teacher's diploma in kindergarten and primary education from the University of Utah. She taught in the Salt Lake and Granite school districts. On September 2nd, 1931, she married Joseph Felt and eventually became the bookkeeper for the J.H. Felt Motor Supply Company at 60 Regent Street. Children living in this downtown area played in the streets and often rummaged through trash for makeshift toys. In 1938, Marie Felt baked an apple pie for two such boys to gain membership in their gang, which soon became known as Mrs. Felt's Gang. Other youngsters eagerly joined in the activities she provided, from simple picture coloring to writing and producing a variety of shows for the entertainment of the Felt employees. With help from various groups, she opened the Felt Recreation Center at 68 Regent Street in March 1939. The club grew to an enrollment of 700 boys and girls, moved several times to larger quarters, and eventually moved to this building in 1967. Childless herself, Felt devoted her life to children and to education. "Everybody's child is mine," she told a Deseret News reporter in 1965. She was an officer of the Sugar House Boys Club and the Girls Clubs of America, and a 3-term president of the Association for Childhood Education in Utah. close quote. So along with the physical items we will be saving in the beautiful building we break ground for today, I hope we can have that same type of caring for the community that Mrs. Felt had. She saw a critical need in her community and did something about it. Not for gain or for glory, but for the sake of helping to lift up her neighborhood through serving its youth. If you think about it, the thousands of youth that were mentored and sheltered at this property over the years could now have a chance to possibly live at 9th East Lofts, a place that is being developed to provide affordable housing to folks who may just need just that little bit of help to be able to live in a great apartment. Folks like school teachers, hardworking friends who make it, but could just use that little bit of help to thrive. That's what Marie did for the youth of this community. That is what we are working to accomplish at 9th East Lofts. We have so many friends and partners who are helping us in this adventure. We'd like to recognize those of you that are here today. When I mention your organization, if you're here, just raise your hand, maybe give a hoot and a holler. We want to see that you're here. It's quite a list. Utah Housing Corporation, Salt Lake City Corporation, Utah Community Reinvestment Corporation, UCRC, Dave Taylor here, Housing and Urban Development, The Road Home, Method Studio here in Force, the State of Utah, Olene Walker, Salt Lake County Corporation, MBCI, which is Dave Miner, who has been our consulting broker, who is now serving a mission in Russia, and we wish him well. The Olene Walker Housing Loan Fund, the Veterans Administration, the YWCA, Zwick Construction, who will be our general contractor, Enterprise, who is our tax credit syndicator, the 5,000 Doors Initiative with the city, JP Morgan Chase, and a special mentioning of David Sailing, who is here with us today. He's come in from Austin, Texas, just to join us today for this groundbreaking. He's helped to sponsor this event today, so we're very grateful for David and for the Chase family being a part of this. Lead for Homes and the East Central Community Council. I don't know if Esther made it here, but Esther Hunter is the chair of that council, and she's been a great part of this development. She's helped us to choose trees and other things that she wants for the neighborhood, and we're just so pleased that the community is happy for this. And finally, we'd like to thank Ballard Spar. Ballard's been with us through the whole thing. Ryan, we couldn't have done this without you and your team, so thank you very much. We also want to recognize, as Terry has said, all the hardworking staff of the Housing Authority who have helped us to carry the load as we battled to get to this day. We have such a great team, and we are the best housing authority I've ever worked for. I'd especially, it's the only one. I'd especially like to thank Robin Cordova and her staff, Vicki Jenkins, Kim Wilford, Brittany Dabb and Annie Lyman, who put this event together, our Board of Commissioners, with Phil Bernal as chair, and our leader, Terry Feveryear, for her support and her vision. As she took over a few years ago, there's been a different direction for us, a different feeling for us, a success that has come that we didn't have before, a respect that we may not have had before, that we may have lost for a little while. And that's come back, and we're so proud of that. When the shovels have been turned, we invite you to enjoy some refreshments behind you. And if you'd like to, in this building to the right here, which we purchased, which we will use during construction, there's restrooms in the back. It's a little cooler in there if you need to take a break. And we'd love to have you walk through there and mingle together. There's also a restroom at the very back if you need to use it. Now, it's time to turn some shovels, get some dirt moving. We'd like to invite at least one representative from each partner to join us over at the Golden Shovels. It'll probably take more than one group to do it. I don't know if we have enough shovels. Might even take 3 turns of the shovel to do this. But let's line up over there, and sure appreciate y'all being here today. Thank you for all you do.